Good morning. Today's the third Sunday after Lent, and obviously nobody's here in church, and it feels really odd to come over to church and have an empty church. I mean, it's happened once or twice when we had big snows, and Amble and Sarah showed up, barreled in at 8 o'clock, and then, we had like a small service, and then Floy, she left at like 8 o'clock in the morning and got here. She was worried she wouldn't get here by 10 o'clock. She was here at 9 o'clock. So we did the readings and gave her communion, that type of thing. But that's not going to happen today. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about what the readings are today. And basically it's the story about the woman at the well, or the Samaritan woman as it's known. And, as we're all kind of sitting in our homes isolated, being self-isolated to help everybody else around us not get a virus that we don't know if it's here or not, this lady, this Samaritan woman, again, not named, a woman, second-class citizen, really a third-class citizen to the Jews because she was Samaritan outside the Jewish religion. She comes to the well in the middle of the day. And it looks like she's always been pretty isolated. From her community, we hear that how many husbands do you have, that type of thing. But here she is, and it's an odd situation where Jesus asks her for water. And she responds, who am I to give you water? Like, who are you, basically? And then he says back to her, if you knew who I was, you would ask me for water. And then this exchange back and forth, and she says, what water? What water do you have? And he says, the living water. So Jesus, even though he's traveling outside his normal circles of the Jewish folks and preaching to the people, the chosen people, he's outside and he's still preaching and inviting this woman into not only the faith of a Messiah, but also into living water and into a community. And here's this woman who has, just a drop of faith, basically. And she says, could this be the Messiah? And she runs back to her people and says, could this be the guy? Not a very good, strong testimony, but a testimony that says, could this be? Puts the question out there for the others to decide. And it says that many people came to Jesus and came to faith through her belief, even though it was just minuscule. So as we're self-isolating, God is still calling us and is calling us to reach out to those around us. And my challenge to you in these kind of weird times of self-isolation is to still reach out to people, to call people. We can still email. We can still send out, little videos like this or pictures, that type of thing, and really take this time to maybe use for ourselves too. And like I told people in the beginning of Lent, not knowing that we'd be in this situation, a couple weeks later, is, I've been trying to do morning prayer every morning, or if I miss that, I do noonday prayer, or if I miss that, I do evening prayer, and then I've always liked Compline. Compline's a really nice, quiet, kind of gets you ready for bed type of thing, type of prayer. So if you don't have a Book of Common, if you have a Book of Common Prayer, look on page 76 for morning prayer. And then it just follows through. There's evening prayer, and there's noonday prayer, then evening prayer, and then Compline. And noonday prayer and Compline are very short and kind of get to the point, and the morning and evening prayer a little bit longer. But you can skip around and do any parts that you want. In the seminary, we did it all sorts of different ways. And then the other thing you can do, if you don't have that, look at BCP Online, so Book of Common Prayer Online, bcponline.org, and just poke on to page 76. We got to go through a index first to get to prayers and poke around, and you can look at it there. And something I've done is just leave my book out on our kitchen table. Even Kathy, my wife Kathleen, commented on it. Well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm doing trying to do prayers every day. I haven't been totally successful, but I've done it probably 6 out of 7 times a week. So back to the Samaritan woman. Think about how isolated she was, and how, but she was with very little faith and very much more of a question than faith. She went out and spoke to people in her own community who really isolated her, and she's the one that brought all those folks to Christ. So think about what you can do, and when you go to the well, what do you have to offer people? And finally, right before I did this, I washed my hands like we're all doing, like 20 times a day, where our hands are almost raw and chapped. I realized, that water is the same water that this woman that offered Jesus, and Jesus offered to her. And it gave me, instead of just thinking, here I have another task to wash my hands again and do all this type of stuff, really get into it. Think about water, how throughout the ages it's been really, we can't live without it. But we're so focused right now on, soap, and so focused on all the wipes and this and that. Start thinking about water again, how it really is. It nourishes us, but then think about the living water that Jesus offers. And it doesn't matter your size of faith, whether it's a little, mustard seed, or if it's much bigger. Reach out to those around you and offer it. And we hope that I'll put this on email today and send it out as a link, but then we hope next week, with the help of Holly Perry, we'll get it on a YouTube, and maybe we can do this actually on Sunday next week, say at 10 o'clock or something, and we can, there's things Holly's telling us we could do with questions and answers and that type of thing, and we can have more of a conversation. So I look forward to your comments. God bless you. Stay well, and I will talk to you soon.